I've got a video about how I made this little pendant. We work in silver, platinum and gold and all the other metals as well, but this particular one is in silver because it's for a silver anniversary. The sweetest thing about making jewelry, and honestly the reason why I would make it even if I don't get paid, in a wonderful world where I can eat just happiness, comes from these kind of jobs. You are tasked to do something that is so special. It's not my celebration, but I get to be a part of that celebration. My name is Jaco. Behind the camera, as absolutely always, is Damia. We just really share with you what comes through our workshop, and hopefully there's something in there that inspires you, makes you want to pick up these tools and try something yourself. Let me show you how I make this silver book pendant. We want to make a pendant of a particular type. I want it to be functional. I'm also thinking about longevity. When I make jewelry, I try and make it for not the wearer. It sounds weird, but I'm not really just thinking about the wearer. I'm also thinking a part of the design also goes towards the next generation. It's an object. We're going to try and copy the object so that it is recognized as the object. Obviously, we don't want to make a little book pendant and it looks like a potato or... I take scale from basic book sizes and you can scale it down. So I want it to be proportional. How thick do I need it to be, and what is this? It's a pendant, but it also is a functional pendant. It opens up. So I'm thinking about the inside cavity. There's planning essentially that goes into it before I start. And then I'm preparing my metal for that. Pages, that's the center part that I've worked on right now. That's basically my thinking here was, how big do I want it? When I close it and I cut through, do I have enough cavity space? And I'm going to mark the center part now. I'm going to be splitting it open, but before I split it open, I'm going to be adding the sleeve. I'm going to be working from the bottom because I want that solder to be dropping down towards the plate side of things. I'm using the personality of the liquid flux to set it up. And then I'm bringing in a powder flux. The one I'm using, the easy flow flux. It has a rapid flow. So when you're working with your heat and you want to direct it, it sort of runs very quickly. It's a large area, so I know that everything is fluxed. Once I've got a consistent flow of solder at the bottom, I'm bringing the top in and I'm soldering the top onto the hollow thing. Now I'm creating a hollow cavity, and that's no good for when you're soldering. You create all kinds of issues. You can get gases in there. It could be problematic in many, many ways. Even in some cases, you can have slight explosions because it can trap gas in there. But when I was doing the marking of the actual pages part, on the corners, I actually cut through. So I pre-thought about this, bringing those parts together, that I have some sort of a flow of air going through this. So when I'm placing the two parts on top of each other, we don't have a vacuum in there.
Have you ever had something explode on you?
I have.
Yeah.
The back part of a book is usually slightly rounded. So if you're thinking about a chenier, like on the side of like a door frame, for instance, you've got a tube and you've got a pin going through it, that concept. That's what I'm utilizing over here for the book's mechanism to open it up. I'm creating a tube essentially out of flat plates. I've got a distance between the two outer pages which I need to fill. So I can work that out like you would when you're making a tube for a stone. The safe thing to do is to go bigger than what you need to be. All I need to do now is get a long stretch of that, so that when I fold it around, I'm going to get to a point which is now going to be bigger than what those two outer pages' distance is. But that's fine, because we're drawing it through a draw plate. Create a little curve at the top. Place that into a swage block and start bending it round. Now you don't have to shape it perfectly round, but it helps. It assists you in the resistance you're going to be putting through to it. Now I'm bringing the chenier into the back part of the book. The spine of the book is what we're creating right now. It's a flat thing and I'm bringing a round thing into it. So naturally I'm going to take that flat section where the spine is and I'm going to file that away so that when I introduce this tube into it, it doesn't sit on top but it drops down. It needs to be bound, right? So you have the book coming down to a point and then dropping ever so slightly before it hits the spine. So I'm going to recreate that by taking a little lens phrase, like a diamond shaped phrase, and cutting on the edge of the outer pages so that when I put this tube into the actual back part of the book, that I can fold just the edges over, so it gives me that impression of the binding. The perfect lineup for these things need to be considered. I know that they're all loose at the moment and I need to join them to the book, so I'm going to pre-put in the wire so that the wire actually holds the cheniers in place. I'm using a black marker and I'm just tacking it with a laser, and then once I remove the wire, which I want to remove, and I bring the book and I open the book up, I've got two separate areas with two matching cheniers. I've soldered the pages part with hard, obviously, because that's my first solder. I'm now moving down to medium, and I'm doing that because I don't want to affect the previous solders that I've done. So the soldering with a medium has a little bit of a lower melting point, so it doesn't have to reach the temperature where the hard gets affected. It's a locket. I need some sort of mechanism to close it up. I don't want to disturb the design, so I'm going to try and bring in these decorative plates. I suppose I'm bringing in decorative plates, that meaning that the information or what it has inside of it is special. It's dear. It works very well with the theme that we've got over here. Everything comes together exactly as I planned it to be, so I'm a happy guy. I'm using this graver to create fine lines all the way around so that it appears like pages. I can also hide the fact that it's split that way because it's one single line in there among all these pages. For the spine of the book, the main chenier area, I'm creating a wire now which is exactly the right size. I don't want any play in there. Around the front part, I even add a little bit of oil in there and I start inserting it into that chenier so that I can get the tightest fit. Why am I doing this? Because at the ends of the cheniers, I'm going to flare out the material. I've got a little book right? It looks like a little book. I'm fascinated by it. I've done a little bit of engraving on it with that cross-hatch engraver that I found for the pages. It works a charm. It gives it that idea that it's almost like it's a hard copy, but it's also like a material finish or whatever the case might be. I wanted to have a bit of texture, and there's a reason for that as well, because we're doing some engraving on the outside and I want that engraving to pop. I've decided to make a tiny little chunky little O-ring, and I'm going to solder this O-ring on top of the pin that goes into the main chenier. Drew it down onto that little pin, and then I studied it because this is the contact point where there's going to be movement. This is the point where it's going to be more stress, I suppose, from the chain. This is where the two meet, and I wanted that to be really solid. I inspect this joint and make sure it's 100% good, and it was. Now it was time to go to the V-loop or the bail. It's not just a V hanging onto this little O-ring. I've got a little wire going through there. And why do I have a little wire? Because again, the contact makes more sense. It's a perfect O-ring, and if I got the little wire going exactly through that diameter, slightly smaller obviously because we want movement, I've got more metal working against each other. So I've got more longevity on this. I mean, it's just so much fun to make these kind of things, and I'm just literally, I can't explain how much fun this job is. So if you're clicking on this video and you're going, wow, I was wondering if I should be a goldsmith or silversmith or whatever, it's worth it. It was also something completely different to what we usually do, which is not that I don't like making the other things, but it's good to have a little bit of a break and for your brain to go elsewhere as well. Thank you very much for bringing this job in to the customer, and I hope you guys had another 25 years of, at least another 25 years of this going. Come back with the 50th anniversary and I'll make you another one if I'm still around, which I probably will be. But until next time, and we have some wonderful jobs that we've already recorded, which we'd love to share with you. So stay tuned, put the little bell icon, that helps as well. And again, thank you for watching these videos. All right, we'll see you next time. As per usual, I'm going to slowly turn my bench towards my bench for an end shot and act as if I'm busy. Like this, and the miner will fade it away. Bye.